Hello everybody, I'm sorry for that delay. I was having a problem with loading my an app I was going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it my old-fashioned way, and you're just going to be seeing my hands today instead of me. But today I'm going to share with you a really fun stamp set, and it's in our mini catalog. This one right here. This used to be what was called the holiday catalog, but now it is just our mini catalog, and it goes from August through December. So it has lots of fun different stamp sets and accessories and all kinds of fun stuff in it. But I chose today to use this one right here. This one is our Festive and Bright, and it is on page 64. Now, one of the things I really like about this stamp set is that it has images that you can use for holidays throughout the season. So we have this, which is apples like on a branch in that. We have fun witches' hats and brooms for Halloween. And then we have the cute branch that has the lights on it. That's going to be perfect for Christmas. Along with that, it also has these different sentiments that you can use to coordinate with the different images. One of the fun things about this stamp set is it has some coordinating dies. And let me bring those on here. A couple of them are pulled out because I am using them. But on the right side here, it's showing the different stamps that we're using. And as you can see, I think I'm using every stamp today, which is always a really good thing. These right here are going to be some of the dies that are going to either give us a border or an edge, and we're going to be able to die cut out these different images. There's also this great little label that we're going to be using, along with these smaller dies. So we have light bulbs, an apple, a ghost, and then we have these leaves right here, and then we have like a pine branch. So there's a lot of pieces in the stamp set, and I'm going to be showing you 3 different tags that I am creating with this tailored tag die set here. So this is in the annual catalog. It's probably top of my list when the new catalog came out, and I'm really enjoying it. I went ahead and I'm using this one die for all of them. It's the largest one, and I thought it would give us the most space to be able to see the different images. All right. So I have pretty much everything cut out so that we can just stamp and have some fun. The first tag that I'm going to be making is my fall tag, and it's a pretty simple tag. There's not a lot to it, but I wanted to do a quick and easy tag also, and then I'll do a little bit more, add a little bit more in my other ones. So I'm using our basic white cardstock here, and over here on the second tag that I die cut, that's from the Beauty of the Earth. It's a fun set of paper. It's all earthy colors, trees, fall leaves, and that. But it has this one with the wood grain, and I thought that would be really fun to use. So I'm going to set that aside up there. Let me grab my pieces. So here is the one tag that is cut with the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. I'll move that up just a little bit. I did die cut one of the labels. I die cut one apple. And then I used, this is another Beauty of the Earth paper, and I just took this green. I liked it having the texture in there, and I die cut one of the leaves. All right. I am going to be using Memento black ink to stamp my images. Here are the apples I'm going to be using. And then there is this to and from, so I will also be using that. And then I am going to be using an assortment. Let me move this over. Let me see. I kind of got to scoot this stuff up. I'm a little bit out of the camera there, so I'm going to move that up a little bit. All right. So I have an array of different Stampin' Blends here. I have this one right here, which is just a clear, it's a color lifter. So if you kind of go outside the lines in that, it'll kind of pick up some of your Stampin' Blend, but it also can be used to highlight a little bit. I also have the Real Red, the light and the dark, Old Olive, light and dark, and then I have the light crumb cake, me make sure I grabbed, actually I grabbed the dark one. That one's gonna work just fine too. We'll use that. And then this one is our dark soft suede. So those are the colors of my blends I'm going to be using. The ribbon that I used to tie on my tag is the red and white stitched narrow ribbon. This one is from the Playful Pets bundle. And then this one is our Early Espresso soft suede or suede look trim. So I will be using those. I'm going to bring in a little bit of our linen thread. So we've got that. Now I'm kind of going too high. All right, well, once I put it together, it's all going to come down anyway, so that's okay. I'm going to be using the stamped image also, the Blessed and then Greetings. So those both come in the stamp set. And I'll be using some Early Espresso ink. So a bit of different things, but it's kind of fun to pull out some fun pieces. So I'm going to move things aside and I'm going to do a little stamping. So on this tag right here, I'm just going to use that to go on the back of my card or my tag, and it's just going to say to and from. I'm going to stamp that, and now I can put that up here. I don't need that right now. I don't need that tag either, so we're going to use this one. All right. Sometimes I kind of start rambling, so I'm sorry if I am. It's just such a fun set, and I hope you guys all really like it. Get everything out of my way. All right, so I have my white tag here now, and I need to stamp that. I'm going to bring in my pad here. And this is a large stamp. Now you can also do this on your Stamparatus, but I decided to just do it with this because I'm only using a small section of it. All right, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do it along this edge right here. So it's going to be a little bit different than my original one. But you'll see two different ways to do it, so that's always a good thing too. It's never a bad idea to do extra. Okay, so we have that. Now let's stamp our image, our sentiment, I should say. And I'm just going to do the Blessed and then this little Greetings here. There we go. All right, so I can put away this part. I don't need that now. And now we can do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to start with my soft suede. This is the dark one, and that's going to be the branch on here. So you'll just see that in there just a little bit. I'm going to come up in here. Now the Stampin' Blends, they come in sets of 2, so you can use both of them, or you can just use the one. And on this part right here, I'm just using the one. I'm just using the darker one. I'm not using the lighter ones. I'm trying to look over because for some reason I lost my comment. So if you're out there watching me, thank you so much for joining me today. If you're watching it on the replay, I hope you enjoy the project that I'm sharing with you. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the light Old Olive, and I'm going to color in my leaves. So they're small, and I feel like I can pretty much go and do all of the leaves first. Now, if you were coloring in a larger area, you wouldn't want to do all of them. You'd kind of want to do a section at a time, and then you can add your highlights with the darker one. But because these are small, I think it's going to work out fine that I just color them all first. So I'm just going through. I would say I'm a pretty basic Stampin' Blend user. I don't do a ton of shading, real elaborate for the most part. I try and keep it simple and easy. Now I'm going to go back with the dark one, and I'm just going down that center seam there, or crease in my leaves. real quick, just kind of adding that little highlight. Now I used this stamp set in my class this week. I made a card and I'll be sharing that with you. And we were thinking about all the different things that this could be. I mean, it could be peaches, it could be apples, it could be oranges. I mean, I think you could really have fun with some different things. You could have some berries, just kind of play with it and change it up a bit. All right, so I am now going in and I am using the light Real Red. Again, it's not that much and they are quite fast to color in. So I am not going to do one at a time or a couple at a time. I'm just going for it. I do see a couple leaves that I actually missed, so I will have to go back and get those, but there we go. All right, so we have our apples there. And now I'm going to take my darker one. Now I'm using, on these markers, the Stampin' Blends, there's two tips. So there is this fine line, and that is the bullet tip, which is what I'm using today. And then this other end is a brush tip. I'm going to use that a little bit after I'm done coloring on one section, and I will show you that when I go to do that. Now on the leaves, when I did them, I just did the green, the darker green, and didn't do anything with it. But with these apples, I am going to go back with my lighter Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to blend that in just so it kind of, so it doesn't really have a line there. The leaf, I like the line, but on the apple, I really didn't want the line. Okay. Now what this pen will do is if you take that, and you know how the apples, sometimes you'll have that little highlight, you can just rub it and you're going to get that little bit, you're pulling off some of that red. These are pretty small, so you may not notice it that much, but it's definitely a fun thing to do. All right, let me set my markers aside there. And I'm going to bring my die cut machine in. Let's see, I want to make sure I have that where you're going to be able to see that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay down my image. And now with the dies, there are 2 for each one, and they're actually numbered. So this one is 3B and there is a 3A. I'm only doing the one side, so I only need one. And I'm going to bring this in here and lay it right along the edge. I have found that it is pretty simple to line it up. It's not that difficult. Once you do it, you kind of find where the nips and turns in that are. And now I can take this off. So now here I have my edge with all of my apples. Okay, I'm going to take these two. Oops, I forgot the one thing I was going to show you with the brush tip. Okay, so I am going to take my Stampin' Blend and I'm going to use the wider, the brush tip. I'm going to hold my lid and I'm going to just give it a little flick. Just like that. It's very light, not a lot, and it's super quick and easy to do. All right, now I have my other tag. So I've got the 2 tags here, and I'm going to take my 2 pieces of ribbon and slip it through. I like how when you die cut it out, it comes with that cute little tag opening there. So now I have those, and then I'm going to take some linen thread and tie a bow on here. Make sure I get all those up there like that. There we go. Now I can trim that off. Now I like the layered look of having 2 different pieces here, but I'm going to bring in a couple dimensionals so that that is going to stay where I want it, because I don't want it to slide underneath where you don't see the 2 colors. So I'm just sliding that off a little bit like that. All right, now I'm going to turn it on the back, and I'm going to take this right here, which is my little label, and I'm going to adhere that down. And I just put the to and from on there so you have somewhere to write, because you want someplace on the tag. There we go. And I think with this background here, it looks really good. Then I'm going to take the leaves that I die cut out, whoops, flying glue, and just put a couple dabs of glue on there. Go ahead and bring that up to the top. And then I'm going to grab those red, real red Stampin' Blends again. I'm going to start with the light one. Grab the wrong one first. Okay, and I'm going to color them in. I'm just using my finger to hold the stem, because I'm going to color the stem brown. Kind of an awkward hold on this, but there we go. And then I will bring a little bit of the darker in on the side there. Okay, I'm going to blend that in just a little bit. Go back to that white or highlight. There we go. I want to make sure that I do rub the tip off, just to make sure that we don't leave red on there, because it is actually pulling the red. And then I'm going to give it its brown stem right there. Kind of feel like I need a little worm or something, but not that we want a worm in our apple, but kind of reminds me. This would be a really cute tag if you were doing a teacher's gift also. So now on the back we have the to and from, we have the cute apple that follows through, and then we have our tag here on the front. So the first one was a little different. I just did a little bit across the bottom. This one I did more, and then I switched and put the apple on the back. So basically the same, just doing a little bit more coloring there. All right, let's move on to, oh, let me show you real quick since we're on that one. So as I said, I only die cut out the one side, but you can actually do both sides. So this die right here goes on that side. And let me grab the other one. And then this one goes on this side. So you can totally die cut it on both sides. I think that's pretty cool. Now let me show you also the card. Here's the card that I did. So it's very similar in the coloring. I still use that Beauty of the Earth paper here, and I did the edge, but instead it's a card versus a tag. So those are some fun pieces with that. Okay, now we're going to switch out here, and I'm going to bring in my fun Halloween one that I did. So this is the tag here. I'm using some of our glitter paper, our cute Halloween designer series paper, Granny Apple Green, Highland Heather, and Pumpkin Pie cardstock. I'm using basic white here, and then I am using some of our gorgeous grape ribbon. This one is Granny Apple Green, but it's actually our white seam binding ribbon, and our black and white gingham ribbon. This black and white cord right here, this is from the Playful Pets, so it's part of a set with the red stitched ribbon I used on the last card. I'm just grabbing a super quick drink here. Sorry about that. I thought I had one on my table in my cup holder, and I didn't. Alrighty. So here is my stamp that we're going to be using. I'm also going to use this cute little spider, the word spooky. I've got a few colors here. Okay. So we have Pumpkin Pie, Granny Apple Green, Highland Heather, we have the light Crumb Cake, and then we have Basic Black. So those are the colors I'm going to be coloring with. I'm going to move those up to the side. I'm going to be using with it Stays On ink, the Versamark, and also Memento ink. Now the Memento is going to be used where I'm going to be using the Stampin Blends, but I really like using Stays On when I'm stamping like the greeting here, the spider, and also the to and from. So I'm going to move those aside. Let me get my pieces here. Trying to find where I should set that. Okay, so I use the same tag, and here is my glitter paper and my cute Halloween. I have some basic white that I'm going to stamp my image. I also brought in some of our black matte dots and our cute star adhesive sequins, so we'll be using those also. I have a couple scraps of the cardstock that we'll be doing some stamping on. And then, as I said, the ribbon that we're going to be using. So I'm going to set the ribbon aside so we have a little room to work. And the first thing I'm going to do is stamp this image. I'm going to bring in my foam pad here. And we're going to ink that up. So I'm using that Memento ink. Sorry, my voice is getting sounds kind of funny. I'm going to ink that up. Looks like a great image. All right, now I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to do all my stamping, and then I can bring my die cut machine back in and I can go ahead and die cut that out. So I'm using Spooky. Now I'm doing it on 2 different colors, so I could have done it, whoops, wrong direction. I could have done it with the colored ink, but I like to be able to use it's fun to use just the one stamp pad, and it works perfect, giving me a tone-on-tone color here. Hopefully I'm getting it centered somewhat. There we go. And then we'll use the Stays On ink to do our greetings image, which that I already used once. It's over here. So let me ink that up. Spooky, spooky, and then greetings. All right, let me think if there's anything else I need to stamp. I think that's it. I think the tag, the tag on the back. You know, it looks like I'm short on one this time, so I'm gonna have to die cut one when I do my die cutting. Okay. Setting these aside, let's set this over here, bring my pieces down here, and we'll do a little die cutting now. Okay. Make sure we got that there. I always think my table's so big, and then when I go to, you know, do these projects, it seems like I need a little bit more room. Let me grab that cute little tag, and we can die cut it at the same time. I'm sure I have a scrap of white paper around here somewhere. Let me find it. Let me see if I can even, nope, I don't want to take a chance on that. Let me grab one from in here. Oops, that's vanilla. You would think, with all my stash of paper on the side here, okay. All right, so we have that there. Now we're going to match up. I'm going to make sure you guys can see well how I'm matching this one up here. I think I'll switch this down here so you get a better view of this one. So this is the 1 and the 2, and it looks to me like this is the edge that will match up with the broom. Right there on the end. Whoops. All right, now I'm going to take this very gently. I'm going to rock it with my hand. Sometimes when it goes through, I've been using it a lot, it gets a little bit bent, and I want to make sure it's flat. You'll notice I put a newer plexi down below because I want to make sure that it's not bowed, and it just makes it a lot easier to cut that. So now I'm bringing this one in and matching it up. And I may end up, I think I am going to do it. Just to be careful, I don't have a post-it note where I could put that over, which that would work, but that's okay. I got the one in. I tell you, doing this on camera is probably makes it look a lot harder than it is. But I think we're okay. I think it's just a little too close here, though. Let me move that back a little bit. Okay. All right. I'd rather have it a little bit farther off than too close because you can always go back and give it a little trim. I don't do anything too fancy. I keep it pretty simple, so you know when I do stuff, it's nothing that you guys can't all do. So I'm going to bring this back in now. I'm going to pull this one off, and I'm going to bring the next one on. Set that in there. I think that looks good. Put this on top. I'm going to crank that one through now. With this one, I'm not using the whole row of the witches' hats too. So I'm going to be able to just pull in and use the part that I want to use. Move this out of the way. All right, I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to take my scissors and just snip the ends like that. And I think what I'm going to do is, let's pull this off here. I'm going to trim just a little bit right in here, not much. And I want to use all the way down to this one. So I'm going to use four of the witches' hats. And then you have this little piece that would be great to use on something else. I'm not going to do it today, but you have it that you can do on something else. All right, let's pull in our colors and do a little bit of coloring here. Actually, I left an extra one. I'm only going to be using 3 of the witches' hats, but maybe I'll do all 4 of them. We'll see. All right. I started off really good there. I started with the dark granny apple green instead of the light. That's okay. I'll bring the light down here. Really coloring them in with whatever colors you like and however you like is going to be just fine. There's no right or wrong to anything we're doing. It's just having fun. I love using the Stampin' Blends and coloring with them. It always just looks so pretty when you have the colors in there. So I'm going to come along here, add a little green there. I think I'm going to do a little green up here. Next, I'm going to bring in my pumpkin pie. Oops. Here we go. And we're going to color in this one up here. So this is the light paper, or light, I would say paper pumpkin. I'm waiting for my paper pumpkin to come because it's going to make so many cute things this month. It's got apples or turkeys or all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm hoping when I go to my mailbox, it's going to be there. All right, so I'm giving a little shadow with that. And let me think I'm using, I think I'm going to use this inside here too. There we go. I'm going to bring the black in and I'm going to give a little black there, a little bit of black there. And I think on this band it's going to be black too. I'm sure it's not how I did my other one, but just want to go with the flow. Now I am using the bullet tip because we are using a smaller area. But whatever you're comfortable with when you're coloring, go ahead and use. there are our hats. Let me see if I'm going to be able to use 4 on there, or if I need to cut that other one off. You know, I think I can use that one. So let's bring, I guess I'll just bring another orange one in, the pumpkin pie color. There we go. Do a little bit of shading. What I usually do is I use the lines that Stampin' Up! Already gives us in our stamped images, and that's what I use for my shading. You know, when they have those little things they add in there, like these little marks in the black in there, that seems to work really good. And let's give it a black band. There we go. All right. I'll move that down there. Okay, so now we're going to do our broom. So I'm going to use the light crumb cake, and I'm just coloring in the broom there. And then I'm going to take the darker one, and I'm going to go ahead and go down here for the broom handle. There we go. And the last thing we'll do is across the broom is that little like metal part. I'm just going to do that in black. Okay. Now because it's Halloween, I love using a little dazzle. So I am bringing in my Wink of Stella, and I'm coloring the witches' hats on top of those Stampin' Blends. I'm just adding Wink of Stella, so they're going to be glittery, and I think that'll go great with the black glitter paper. All right, set that aside now. And then let's bring our pieces here, and we're going to trim these out. So I'm just trimming on both sides of that word greetings. I got very close. You don't need to get quite as close as I did. There we go. All right, I am going to see if I can go back and get back where I can see if there's any comments there. I feel bad that that if any of you have written comments that I'm not seeing it. So there we go. I think I've got it. Yay. Okay. Hi, Monica. Hi, Kathleen. Let's see. Hi, Barb. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm not sure if this is the best time. I've been talking the last couple weeks about maybe changing my time, but the one thing I'm happy about is that if it's on Facebook Live, it is here for good. It's not going anywhere. And I also save it to my YouTube channel. So if you ever are looking for a video and you can't find it, you can go to my YouTube channel, and most likely you're going to find it there. All right, so I have my spooky. So I am going to trim that a little bit. And I've got 2 of them. I did one in the Highland Heather, and this one is in the Granny Apple Green. Okay, so let me find where I lost my Highland Heather one. I'm not sure where that went, so that is kind of strange. How could I be missing the one color? Oh, let's see. Luckily, I have a piece of paper here, so wrong color. All right, let me grab another piece. It's probably stuck on the back of something. I'm sure it is because I did have it. We all saw it and I stamped it. Let me bring the Versamark in here. All right, I'm just gonna stamp one more on that scrap. And then we'll just trim that out. Now, if you don't feel like you can cut straight enough, to me it doesn't really matter. I just kind of go freehand on these. You can cut narrower strips, but I think this works just fine. All right, and I forgot to put my to from, so I'm grabbing that stays on. I'm getting all these little pieces, and then we'll have everything put together. So there's the to from. And then I'm going to do my little spider right there. Okay. Now let's start putting this all together. So I'm going to layer. We have the Cute Halloween Designer Series paper and the black glitter. And I'm going to bring that ribbon in. So I'm probably going to cut about this much. It's about 8 inches. And that's the black and white and the gorgeous grape. And then let's bring in some white. Now this is our Whisper White Crinkle ribbon. I use it all the time. I love that you can color it, and that is what I'm going to do really quick right here. I'm going to color both this and this one. So you just grab your Stampin Blends. You can use the brush tip or you can use the bullet. I think the brush tip goes a lot quicker. And I'm just coloring it and I was supposed to do this in green. So I guess our gingham's going to be in green now, and this is going to be in the pumpkin pie. So it'll be a little different. I think I want it to be a little darker, so I'm going to grab my darker pumpkin pie, and I'm going to use that. So let's see. I think that's a little bit better. The Stampin' Up! Has a lot of coordinating ribbons, which is awesome, but sometimes there's just not the color that you want. Now I'm using the bullet end on this because my brush tip, I've used so much that, because I've colored so much ribbon, that it's kind of gotten a little frayed, and I think I need to get a new one. But I have used it for a long time, so I've definitely gotten my use out of it. All right, let's see if we're gonna go with the darker or lighter. Let's go with the darker. I always like it a little bit more bold to stand out. Yeah, that's better. So the gingham is really fun. You can add whatever color you want to it. The Stampin' Blends. You can also color like your rhinestones and different things like that with the Stampin' Write markers. Okay, we've got all of our pieces. We have our gorgeous grape, our pumpkin pie, and our granny apple green ribbons. So we are going to slip them in here. I go to one end. I kind of squish them together. I'm going to poke it through the glitter paper first, and then I'm going to poke it through here. It's funny, just a little bit different in which colors I did on the ribbon, and I think it's going to look great. Okay, now I will use my black and white twine here. Again, this is from the Playful Pets combo. And we will tie a bow. Now you could also tie a knot if you don't like to do bows. Either one is going to work fine. There we go. And then I'm going to give a little haircut here. So I'm just trimming these off a little bit. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this apart again. I'm going to grab some dimensionals just so it stays a little separated. I like the other color peeking out. It just adds a little bit more to our tag. I'm going to flip this over and we can glue this down now. Now if you wanted more room, you could use a larger tag so that you have more room to write, but I was just keeping it simple and trying to use pretty much just what came in it. Other than one label punch I'm using in the next one. Okay, So now we're going to put this on. I'm going to flip it over, and I am going to use several dimensionals, more than I usually would, but I really want to make sure that this stays secure to that glitter paper. Glitter paper is definitely something that makes it a little bit harder to stay on, but I think it's well worth it, and I think it's going to be super cute. Okay, I'm going to bring this along the side like that. And then let's get our little words here. So we've got spooky and spooky. Again, I'm going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use 2 on each one of those. And I'm going to go ahead and put that one right there. And this one right here. And then this is very, very thin. There's not a lot of room. So I am going to go right along this bottom edge and just trim off a little piece of my dimensional. It's a thin piece and it's longer. And so I know that it's going to really hold this up and it's not going to go flat on me. You know, when it gets put on something or you're playing with it and that. So then I can just put that little one right there. All right, now to add a little bit of fun stuff. I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool. First, I'm going to add a couple of these matte dots, like that. And then I want to bring in some of our cute little sequin stars here. I think that just adds a little bit. That, and then one more quick little thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm actually going to trace my letters. It's a brush tip, so it does work pretty well. And I'm going over them so then my word spooky is actually going to be glittery too. You can never have enough glitter. I'm not so much into the chunky glitter, but I love the shimmer that the Wink of Stella adds. Not to say that I don't, you know, give a little more sparkle sometimes, but I think this is perfect on here. It's not overly done, but I think it does a good job. All right, let me move my junk out of the way there. Okay, so here are the two, and you can just see the little difference. I think I used the lighter orange, and then I used the granny apple on the white ribbon, and here I have the granny apple on the gingham, and then did the orange. So it's a fun, cute tag. I think everyone would like this on their Halloween treat bag. This one I did the 3, this one I did the 4. So very similar, just a cute, fun tag. And I will show you another card. This was on my blog last week. And so this is a card, it's called a tower card or pinwheel card. It stands up and it's fun because you get to decorate 4 sides. So here I used again the witch's border with the brooms in that. And then these are a couple pieces from our frightfully cute Halloween bundle. And there we go. So it's just a fun card, but I use the border on there. So it's great that you can use it on all kinds of things. Okay, now for our last one. If you're still out there, I'm so thankful that you're hanging on watching. We are going to be making now a Christmas tag. And so I am using some of the paper from our Sweet Stockings. It's a really cute paper, and you're thinking it's the blue, but if I flip it over, you see there's the lights in that. Again, I have a white tag. I have a couple of the light bulbs. I die cut a sprig. And then I have 2 of the labels that come with it. I have a scrap of our pool party. And then I'm using this Label Me Lovely punch, and I'm going to punch out a label here, and I'm going to use that. So this paper is also from the Sweet Stockings Designer Series paper. The stamped image I'm using says Festive and Bright. and I am using Old Olive and Pool Party. And then I'm going to be using the Pool Party Cherry Cobbler Stampin Blends, and I'm using the Bumblebee marker. We don't have Bumblebee Stampin Blends, so that's why I'm using that. All right, move that up. All right, here we go. So let's do a little stamping. I'm going to move these to the side so that I can make sure that this is up where you guys can see it. And I'm just going to go up my tag and I kind of move it as I go a little bit so that I'm getting the light bulbs kind of in different places, so they're not all the same. All right, I think that'll do. And while I have that out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my Festive and Bright. There we go. And I want to stamp my To and From right here. So let me just wipe off the black on here, and I can add that right there. All right, let me see if I have anything else to stamp. Oh, I do have one more thing. I need my scrap, and then I'm going to bring my Pool Party in. And I am going to be stamping the Bright from the Festive and Bright. So it's all cleaned off. It's going to stamp that right on there. It doesn't matter that it's straight. We're going to trim that out. And I'll go ahead and just do that right now real quick. Then we can put our pieces all together. So you'll notice this one I didn't do it in the Versamark. And let me show you the difference of doing that. I'll hold the two together and just give you a better idea. So on this is Pool Party ink on Pool Party, and this is Versamark. So you can see how it's a lighter tone. But if you're doing multiple colors, instead of having to clean your stamp in between, the Versamark is just a clear ink. So it's really great to use when you're doing multiple of a stamp and you're just doing like the words like that. All right, so let's put these pieces up here. And all of that can go up there. And this is what we're going to color now. I'm going to stick this underneath just to give us a little backing. Now the Stampin Blends, they do go through your paper. So you want to have something underneath. You don't want to go and color on, you know, like a table or something like that would go through. And I am just going to real quickly do there. And now I'll come in and I'll do mine here. So 1, 2, 3. Try and spread them out a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll do this one down here. All right, we'll try with that. Now we'll come in with the Cherry Cobbler. And there we go. Actually, I did the dark one. Well, these are all going to be a little bit darker, a little bolder. When I did the first one, I did one color at a time, and so it's probably better to do that versus what I'm doing here. Kind of doing the shortcut way, but I think it'll be just fine. This is going to be in the background, so it's not going to be the main focal part of the card. There's going to be a label on top of it, so part of it you're not even going to see. There we go. I think that'll do. And I guess I should have done these while I was at it. Okay, so let me color that in. And then we'll come over here and get this one. I'm going to do the lighter on this one and see. All right, that'll work just fine. Okay, let's bring this back in. Again, we're going to do our ribbon on here. And I'm going to be using our Bumblebee Gingham ribbon, our Pool Party sheer ribbon. There we go. And then lastly, we're going to use some of that white crinkle ribbon again. Oops, it looks like I'm at the end of my spool. Need to order another one of those. Oops, I missed one thing here. Okay, so I'm going to set that out, and then I am going to bring in this right here and my old olive Stampin' Blend. I'm going to reach behind here and grab it. For some reason, I put them away. Not sure why I did that. Okay. Now let's get this in. This is my brush tip. I think that's going to work out good there. Just going along, coloring it. Now the other thing you can color your ribbon with, let's say you're doing a project like your Christmas cards, or you're doing a bunch of tags, you can color your ribbon. If you have like a solid stamp, more of a, it could be any stamp, but you can actually ink a stamp and then stamp on your ribbon. You can also use some of your ink refills and put it in like a Ziploc bag with a little alcohol and then a couple drops, and then you can put yards of it in there. And then you just kind of add more ink refill as you find you need more to get your color the way you want it. All right, so my ornaments now, I am going to color a little tip, just like your light, I call them ornaments, like your light bulbs would be. And then I'm going to come back with the darker old olive and just do a little edge right there. Okay. Now we have, I think, all of our pieces. Yay! Okay, let's do some fun. We're going to do the same thing we did on the other ones. I am going to put all 3 ribbons through my top one. And then pull them through the back one. Pull those all up to the top. And then I'm going to grab my linen thread. Linen thread, dimensionals, glue dots, white ribbon are just some of my basic products that I always have on hand. And whenever I'm ordering, those are things that I can add, especially like right now, we have celebration going until September 31st. So with every $50 purchase, you're going to get a free product. So if you're close, but you're not quite there, then look at some of the basics you use all the time. Another one might be just our basic white paper, envelopes. Oops, I made a mistake. Okay, things like that, that would be something you want to add to your order, so you make sure you get to that $50 point. My bow was just fine on there, but I wanted to add some jingle bells to it. And so I wanted to have long tails, and that's why I had the long tails. And then as I'm talking, I went and snipped them off. Not the smartest thing to do, but hey, it's linen thread and I can use that piece on something else. All right, there we go. Give it a little haircut up here. I never seem to get it just right on the length, but I just play with it until it is a good length there. All right, we are going to add those dimensionals to separate those tags. So these tags I'm making, all of them, they're very similar in their basic layout. I just kind of played with them and decorated them a little bit different. All right, so we have that there, and now I'm going to take my label here, add some dimensionals to the back. Look at that cute little mouse. And we're going to layer this on. put it there. It's a little bit higher. And then I'm going to add this right here. Make sure I didn't have the glue dot go over there. And then I'm going to add this little sprig, and I am going to take some of my glue dots and I'm rolling them up so they're kind of skinny. And then I'm putting them along the branch there. I'm only going to use 2. It doesn't need a whole lot. And then put one up here. And then I can take that sprig and lay it on there like that. I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals and put one on the back of each of these light bulbs. There we go. Maybe I'll tuck it underneath here. There we go. And then our last one here. All right, now let's add a little bit more shimmer. We're going to do these light bulbs so they stand out a little bit more. Now I did this light in the lighter cherry cobbler, because if you notice the paper, it has like the dark cherry cobbler and the little stitches of the light. So I just thought it would add a little bit, just add some contrast there instead of being exactly the same. Looks like I cut this. It's just hopefully going to fit. I'm going to plot that up on top. And now that I'm thinking of it, it does say bright, so how about if we add a little more sparkle to that? There we go. I like that. And now, oops, flip it over. And we can add some glue on the back here. I'm not gonna do the very end. I'm hoping I grab the right way too, because it's gonna hang off the edge a little bit. I thought I would just match it up with that part that's going out there. There we go. Now let's do our trick with our bells. I always have a stash of little bells, and with them, I have one of these needle threaders. Old time, you know, from forever ago. You can get them in the at a craft store with the sewing supplies. And what I do is I take my bell and I stick that through it, and then I put my linen thread right through there, and now I'm going to pull it through. There we go. And now we'll do the other one. I think these come in a 2-pack, some maybe even more. There's all different kinds. It has this super fine little wire that's connected, and that's what we're going to pull. And they usually only last so long. Let's see if I can make it. There we go. I got it. Perfect. Like I'll go and I'll put like a hot glue gun or something. I'll put a dab on there just to even hold it longer. But really, they're so cheap that, you know, use them for as long as they're good, and then you start a new one. So I am taking my bell and I'm bringing it up a little bit, and then I'm just doing like a little knot just like that to secure it. There we go. I think I might even bring, let's see, there's these really fun matte dots that we have, and they coordinate with the Playful Pets Sweet. And I wasn't going to use them, but I think now I'm going to. I think we could use a couple up here. There we go. And how about, I'll use it down here too. Can always use a few extra little gems or something. All right, let me bring those tags back in so you can see them all. There we go. I think they're a lot of fun. I'm making sure that they are all in the picture so that you can see them. But it's fun. So I hope you guys like today's Facebook Live. I will post individual pictures of all 3 of the tags so that you'll have them, along with a list of all the products that I used. And again, you can come back to Facebook Live and watch it again if you want to make the tags and you want to follow along. Or you can go to my YouTube channel and you can follow along there. I'm also going to add a link to my newsletter. So starting in about 2 weeks, I'm going to start a countdown to Christmas, and I've got 12 different projects with PDFs, and it'll be coming out with my link that I send my newsletter. So if you're not a member of, if you haven't signed up to be a part of my newsletter, then you might want to do that. And there'll be a link to sign up for my newsletter on this page. Go ahead and just click that. It's real quick. I do send out a newsletter once a month with the information about my classes and projects and things that I've been doing. And then over the holidays, I will be sending 12 weeks of Christmas, 12 great projects from 12 different demonstrators. I think you'll really enjoy them, and it's going to be a really fun way to get some ideas of what you want to do for the holidays. So thank you so much for joining me, and please feel free to share this with any of your crafty friends. I would love to meet some new stampers, and I would love to have them follow along on my journey here on my Facebook Lives. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.